Hi, folks. This is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, we've talked more about the fishing pressure that we brought to this area by bringing more and more families, more and more professional fishermen, their families, and how are we affecting our resource? How are we affecting these species? Well, along those lines, I have people that come into the booth and they're asking me the same type of questions. And I'm always asking them questions as well. One guy came in the booth this weekend, and I says, "Do you fish much?" He says, "I used to," but he says now the ticks are everywhere, and he says every time I go in the woods, I get covered with ticks, and I can't fish anymore. I just can't put myself through that. Now, again, we're all different. Some of us don't even pay attention, which we should, but the ticks aren't going to keep me from going fishing. I'm going to find ways to try to protect myself, try to wear the right type of clothing, try to inspect myself when I get home. But there was something more important, or maybe just as important, that came out of this. He said, I've got a stream by my house or by his family's house. And he said, it has been tremendous. It's got 20-inch brown trout in it. Well, we're all fishermen, and you know how fishermen exaggerate. But anyway, it apparently was a wonderful stream. And he said, I wasn't fishing it anymore because of the ticks, but I've had people stop by our house and say, would it be possible for us to go out there and fish that stream? And he says, if they have kids, or if they're older folks, or, they just want a picture of something nice, he says, I'll let them go out. I'll let them fish it, even though I can't fish it anymore. But he said, here's what happened. I told one person that they could go fishing out there, and they ended up coming day after day after day. And they just weren't fishing. Not only fishing, they were also keeping. And he says, the result of all that, the stream no longer has fish in it. They've caught them all out. And this may be somewhat of an exaggeration, I don't know. But I think it's really, really has a lot of merit. Because any body of water, if we don't respect and take into consideration the balance that has to take place, we can destroy any of our fisheries. It's something we all should be aware of. Maybe the next time we go trout fishing, we should be a little bit more careful of that stream and not keep one of those trout we might keep to come home and eat it. Every major fishery that I've ever known in my life, I remember as a kid, everybody raved about the Everglades and the St. Johns River and all the 10-pound plus largemouth bass that were there. And their articles appeared in Outdoor Life, and more people started finding out about this fishery. And what happened is, all of a sudden, some of those limitless 10-pound bass were no longer limitless. And the population started going down and down. People used to think you couldn't outfish a resource. Nothing couldn't be farther than the truth. And so today we have catch and release. And we've talked so much about that. But maybe, just maybe, we should make catch and release more of a demand, of a limit to what people can do than we have for a lot of our other fisheries. Every one of our tributaries can be threatened by not really taking care of the fish that are there. I think that we should have catch and release only on muskie fishing. I think that resource is too fragile. We should maybe have catch and release on more of our trout waters, especially the ponds. Now, most of the streams, it's a put and take sort of philosophy that takes place by our state DEC, because a lot of the rivers won't allow the fish the conditions won't stay stable enough where the fish can survive for 12 months. But I think it's really important that we realize that we have the ability, the power to destroy our resource. And just as important as taking care of it, it's to understand that it can be very fragile. I wanted to bring this up because that really struck home with me when the guy told me about how his stream had been destroyed by too much fishing. We really need to take care of what we have. I can't say that too much. I talk about safety and how you can't overstate that, where you also can't overstate the fact that the responsibility for our waters, I think, really resides with us. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.